Hello, I'm Henry Nyman, and today we're going to look at the latest of Bluetti's line of portable power stations. This one comes with the inverter size of 3,840 watts and internal batteries of 2,764.8 watt hours. So let's take a look at some of the ports that are available on this one. Here we have your standard 20 amp, 120 volt outlets, and there are 4 of those on the front. We have some more along here on the side. This one is a proprietary connector. It is used for both input and output and we'll get into some of the accessories that are available with it, but it's for one of the accessories that it has for expansion. Here we have your standard input power cord, 120 volt, 15 amp. Here's our 30 amp RV, 120 volt. And this one is a 50 amp, 120, and 240 output port. Now the 240 volt aspect on this is new for this unit. And if we look up here at the top, let's go over some of these things. You'll see that first orange switch there. And it is a voltage selector, as you can see. If you have it in the up position, it's your standard 120 volt inverter, 3,840 watts, just like normal. In the lower position, though, it becomes 240 volt split phase, compatible with the American system. And it literally does just that. It has a single inverter that is capable of giving you 240 volt split phase out of that connector that I showed you on the side. So that is definitely one of the unique things on this one. Going over to the next, you see an eco button. So even without the app or anything like that, I'll go ahead and turn on the AC for a moment. You'll hear that click. You get the little indicator of the AC output. And of course, you can turn on eco mode. There. Now it says eco, and we can turn it off. So obviously, as in with the other models, if it's in eco mode, and I believe it's less than 20 watts of AC output for 4 hours, it'll turn itself off. You'll also notice it's got the newer style of display, including the length of time. Right now it's saying 5.9 days with nothing running on the AC output, just the inverter on. It lasts pretty much 6 days. With the battery capacity at 87%. You get separate values for the DC input as well as DC output, and we'll get to that. And then same thing for AC input and AC output. You'll see on the very bottom of the screen that it says 120/240 volt. So that's where you can see that. Over here, it's got, again, more just plain switches on the front, which is very nice. So your charging mode. Right now it's in silent. It limits it to about, I think it's 500 watts of charging, and that reduces fan use for lower noise. The center auto position is where you set it if you want to use the app to set the regular, silent, or turbo charging modes. And of course, if you flip it all the way down, it automatically goes into your turbo charging, and that would depend then on what input cable you have. As it comes with a 15 amp 120 volt on that plug that I showed you, but there's there's 2 other cords, I believe, a 30 amp and a 50 amp 240 volt. So those are all options for recharging on this thing. And so here we go. We'll have a look at the other side here for a minute. We have more ports. This one is your battery expansion. Same as the other ones you have with the AC300, the AC200L, and some of those other units, compatible with the B300, the B300K, and with the adapter cable, the B300S. And I think there's 1 or 2 other smaller of their expansion batteries that it's capable with too. And then you've got the XT60 ports, and this is for the solar. Each one is capable. There's 2 MPPT chargers, so they're 1,200 watts each, and as it says in here, 12 to 60 volts, 20 amps max. So that's the solar input that comes with it. So this is what the device is. It's fairly hefty, about almost 85 pounds, because it has all the external or the internal batteries included in it. But it's also designed to be very expandable. It's completely functional as a unit by itself. And that's what we'll get into in the rest of this video later. I am going to go through a number of different use cases for the thing and see how it performs, how you would use it around your home, etc. But it's highly expandable. As you may have noticed, there's no DC ports on this thing. But there is an accessory that you can add to it that gives you a USB-A, 2 USB-C 100-watt ports, and it's got a high current port, and I can't remember the connector type, but it's something you would use, for example, in the RV industry if you wanted to plug in and run appliances in your RV for DC. And that is called the Hub D1. And that also has another accessory that allows for a higher degree of solar input. It's the Solar X4K. And it also connects to the battery port, which of course, if you're using expansion batteries, it ends up being connected to the last in the line of expansion batteries free port. Okay, so that's how you add it in there. The solar one allows for up to 4,000 watts of solar panels with a maximum voltage, open circuit voltage of 500 volts. So that makes it a hugely capable solar input, especially if you already have some on your house, and there's a bunch of different options that device gives you as far as solar. And having that one in operation does not remove the option of using the 2 built-in controllers as well. So you can actually get a maximum of 6,400 watts of solar into this device. Also, as far as expansion goes, you can put 6 batteries on it, plus the one that is internal to it. So if you, for example, use the B300K batteries and you maximize it out to 6, but it also has the same capacity in there, so effectively you have 7 batteries on this thing as far as being able to run for a long period of time. So it's highly expandable. There is another device, again an accessory, it's called the Hub A1, I believe it was. And it allows for 3 of these to be paralleled together and the output combined. So you'd have the 3,800 watt inverter in this one and 2 more. So you get it's 11,500 watts of power that this thing can supply, which gets you to almost 50 amps of 240 volt output. And of course, you can put 6 batteries on each one of them. And I think it's somewhere around 59,000 watt hours of battery at that point. So it's hugely expandable, which is kind of where Bluetti appears to be targeting this. It's a basic level one all by itself. It works. You can take it. It's very functional, as we will see. But you can do a lot of additions and expansions to this thing if you want to run an off-grid home or have a significant backup capacity to your own home with power issues, or if you just simply want to add some solar and off-cut some of your grid costs for your electric grid costs. So this thing can take over part of that. And there's other equipment that allows you to do that too, like an automatic transfer switch and some very high capacity. Apparently these things can do pass-through connections of 12,000 watts, so combined charging of batteries and passing the electric grid through to a load if you're using it in a backup scenario like that. So very expandable, quite impressive in my testings and what I've seen with it. I have none of the accessories for it, so all my testing is going to be with this thing on its own. I'm going to do one test also with it where I have a B300K battery added into it. So let's take it from there, and we'll go on and see how it runs. Okay, it's time to make the coffee. Got our coffee grounds, K-cup adapter, Makes it nice simple. You can have your own coffees in there. Got a frother with it included in this, so I'll go ahead and load this up. Plain creamer is fine for me. Make sure. Coffee over here. Coffee perfection. Awesome. Okay, what we're going to do in this test here, this is of the Bluetti Apex 300. I've devised a plan to put it through its paces a little bit. I'm going to make waffles with a waffle maker. At the same time using a pressure cooker just to quickly boil up some eggs. But they're both going to be pretty high output devices. So I'm going to set it like that. This thing is preheating, so it'll take a little bit of time. In the meantime, it's just starting, so now we're coming up to 2975, 2980 watts. So we'll go through this process. Obviously the waffle making will take longer than the egg to do, but it'll be a good workout for this thing. Let's see how it goes. Okay, well that was successful. Got a dozen waffles, got a bunch of eggs boiled up in the Instant Pot. The Apex 300 is down to 58% of its battery. It took about, what's the time on this thing? Almost a half an hour. So all of this at one time with this one single unit, it's got more than 50% of its battery left. And it did wonderfully. Had no trouble handling it. 3,000 watts straight out with these two high-powered appliances running simultaneously. So that's what we got with it. What I've got set up here is, of course, the Apex 300, and I've got it connected to our washing machine. So we're going to run a load of laundry and see how well this does for that. Not exactly sure how long it takes, maybe about an hour. It's just cold water wash. We'll go get this thing going. We got this load of laundry completed. You can see there it's used about 90% of the battery. So in theory, you could run around another 8 or 9 loads on this with this. This load took, it was about an hour, a little over an hour long. So it did good. You get the options to run these things off-grid or just in a power failure if it's an extended one, and you've been cleaning stuff up and got a lot of dirty clothes. It'll do it. So good stuff. Here we have another test I'm going to do with the Apex 300. So you got this living room here. It's about 350 square foot all told. And I've got this portable air conditioner. It's Medea inverter based. It's 14,000 BTU. And I'm going to, as I have it now already, connect it up to the Apex 300. And I'm just going to run it straight off its own battery and see how long it runs for. So I've just set it up about a half an hour ago in the room. So it did its initial cool down. What I've got weather-wise, because that's important, is going to be up to 77 degrees. It's about 72 or so now. And so what I've done for this room, because it's completely closed off, both sides, there's doors. There's 3 vents in here. I have them all closed, and I've covered them with a blanket and something like that to prevent any cold air escaping through it. And so this room is going to have it cooled. I cooled the rest of the house 75. This one is going to be down to 72. So I'm going to run that. I'm going to see how well this works. You know, you can use it as a power emergency situation. How long can this thing run? A fairly decent size air conditioner unit, and in this case it would be to cool down a single room where you can have a cool down period if you need that kind of thing in a real heat wave or something like that. So you can see it's just kind of kicked up for another round of cooling. So right now it's running at about 800 watts. This thing is extremely efficient. It'll run up to 1300 watts like it did originally when I plugged it in to cool the room down. It did that for maybe 15 minutes or so, cooled the room down, and now it'll cycle on and off periodically. So a quick look at this here. Okay, so this unit set to 72. Feels really nice and cool. And we'll have a close look at this for a minute. You can see it's about 800 watts at 96%. The original cool down would have taken a decent amount, but we'll see. It's talking about 4.3 hours. Of course, it's not going to run at this rate the entire time. It cycles on and off. Okay, here we are at the conclusion of this test with the Bluetti Apex 300 running this 14,000 BTU air conditioner in this room. and it's done great. At this point in time, it has been just a little bit over 30 hours of running just off this unit here with its own internal battery. And the room has been kept and maintained at 72 degrees the entire time. So it's been doing well. It's used about 2,000 watt hours of the battery. It's showing 18% on the display when I looked at it just a moment ago. And so very useful, very practical, very pleased with it. One of the segments that Bluetti is targeting the Apex 300 for is the home backup segment. And with its capability of doing 240 volt split phase and having the appropriate outlets on it, it is definitely suited for that purpose. So I wanted to do a test of that very function here in my basement where I have my electrical system set up. Now, normally I have an AC300 that is running part of my home circuits, what I've got wired up as my critical circuits. And you can see over there, I've got my 6 circuit transfer switch set up there. You can already see the cord plugged into it. That's what I normally use, the AC300. We're going to go ahead and hook it up to this thing. Right now, everything is tied over there to the grid. And we'll switch it over to this, to the Apex 300, and see how that handles it in that mode. So I've got a cord set up for it. I have the appropriate adapter. We'll go ahead and get this plugged in for a minute. We'll go ahead and get that output turned on. So now it's available over there. I just need to switch the circuits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so you can see how this thing responds when I have that thing and as I switch the circuits over. Okay, so first we'll start over here. This is my internet stuff, 80 watts. Next, we're going to do the upstairs refrigerator in the kitchen, 186 watts. We'll do D, which is mostly the house water pump. Lights in this room. So I see I didn't even see a flicker with that one. Up to 203 watts. And the last one is going to be all the rest of the circuits down in the basement. Runs a fridge and 2 freezers off that circuit. So 390 watts, that's what it's running. So my primary critical circuits are now all running on this thing. About 350, 400 watts is typical. And then, of course, you get the water pump that kicks in periodically. It is a 120 volt water pump. It doesn't require the 240. So it does that. And we'll just see how that goes for a little while. See if the water pump kicks in, and you'll see how that surges. If you watch the AC output as I'm here adjusting the camera, you'll see that the water pump did kick in. It runs to a little over 2,500 watts on the surge and then settles down to a little over 1,400 watts as the water pump continues to run. The pump itself takes approximately 1,000 watts of power to continuously run once it starts. At this point, we've been running the household critical circuits for about an hour. Battery's down to about 88%. Started off showing 99% at the beginning. Of course, we got the B300K 1 expansion battery included with it. So it's down 11, maybe 12%. At that rate, I should be able to run these critical circuits in my home for anywhere from 7 to 8 hours during any power failure. And again, that's also running 2 fridges, 2 freezers, occasional use of the water pump in the house, my camera security system, my internet service stuff, and a few miscellaneous smaller items on these circuits too that are connected in. So in this video, we've used it to run small appliances like a coffee maker, and in the extreme test, we've run 2 high-powered appliances at the same time, and it's done exceptionally well with that. We've also used it in some more longer load scenarios, such as running the laundry, the washing machine for over an hour, and then running an air conditioner to keep a room cool for 30 hours. It's done well in both of these different scenarios. I've been extremely pleased with the way it's performed. And then, of course, at the end here, we just finished up with how we can use it for backing up circuits, either in a case of a power failure or also with the use of solar to be able to take over some of the load of the household and be able to shift the costs off from the grid use. One of the things I particularly like about it is that you can start off with a unit like this, using it just in the case of power failures. You can eventually start using it as supplemental to your grid, and it's got so many opportunities for expansion, including with solar capabilities, expansion batteries, and it's a system that can very much grow with you over time as your needs change and as you see more useful ways to put this kind of power system to use for you. So I hope this video has been useful to describe what this thing is. It has performed extremely well for me. I've had absolutely no issues with it whatsoever, and I've been very pleased with it. And thank you for watching my video.